this edition of the Boob Tube Buddies podcast, featuring our discussion of the newest movie in the Marvel Universe, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm Foxman, and I am joined by the ego to my Adam Warlock. What's going on, Mike?
Pretty good. Trying to digest that right now and see if you just slammed me or not.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to it. I mean, I didn't want to be the ego since he's the bad guy in the movie, but I feel like you could comfortably embrace the villain role.
I feel there's a narcissistic undertone to that.
There is. Yeah, there definitely is.
I just shattered my ego saying narcissistic, so we're good.
Okay, real quick, you guys can go to www.boobtubebuddies.com to get all of our old content. That's all of our songs, episodes, every little bit that we've ever done is on our website. And then just check us out on social media. The links are in the description, but essentially you can go to any social media site, look up Boob Tube Buddies, and you'll find us on there. And then the Patreon page. And so that's pretty much it. I don't want to belabor the point. What I do want to do is get right into it, because we got a shitload of content to get through here.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and get to the first little segment. It's a little thing that we like to call Summon It Up in a Tweet.
Oh yeah, we're summon it up, so summon it up. Summon it up, oh yeah, we're summon it up. Oh yeah, we're summon it up, so summon it up. Summon it up and up.
Okay, so basically Summon It Up in a Tweet is 140 characters or less used to summarize the entire episode. And just a heads up, we are going to be trying our best to avoid spoilers for the first however many minutes of the podcast so that it is openly available for everybody. With the exception, and do you want to give a quick disclaimer?
There's an exception in mind. There's a spoiler. I don't know. It's not too big, but it's big enough that you're probably going to want to avoid it and hit that 15-second forward button a couple times.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and fire it off, and now would be the time to hit that 15-second button.
All right, here we go. Star-Lord meets his pappy, but the reunion goes crappy. Then he realizes it's his true dad's Yandu, but now sadly he's gone too.
That is really good. That's a way better rhyme than mine. Shit. God. Okay. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Awesome Stanley cameo nod to fan theory that he's a god. Drax and Yandu stole the show. God, I love that fucking arrow. Maybe better than the first, but the margin's narrow. And that is Summon It Up in a Tweet.
Nice.
Okay. So what'd you think?
No, it was good.
You didn't think that those were forced rhymes?
No, it was good.
I was looking at it and I'm like...
You covered a lot of territory.
Yeah, I really did.
Yeah.
There's a lot of symbols, like ampersands and things like that, because I couldn't get all that in 104. It was 170 at first, and I had to really whittle it down.
For whatever reason, mine have been really short recently. I don't know why, but...
That's good. Short and sweet, you know? Because mine, oh my god, I get so wordy. Wait till you hear my Two Truths and One Big Little Lie. It's like a full-on textbook. It's horrible.
I heard the one you did with Nathan.
Oh, it's so bad.
This is rough.
It's really bad. So you're gonna have to get through that with me. But okay, so let's talk about the episode in generalities, not spoil anything. Scale of 1 to 10. What did you think of it as a movie?
I'm going to give it like a solid 8.5.
Nice,
and
yeah.
I would be willing to go higher because I did see it twice now, and I actually think there's stuff in there that I didn't see. Some of the, it was more emotional for me the second time.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'd honestly give it like a 9, because some movies, when all they're going for is entertainment value, and they can give it to you in a variety of different ways, like, I wasn't hugely wrapped up in the emotional aspect of the movie, but to be fair, they don't keep you rolling in that. Like, they're always, when there's like a sad moment, humor follows pretty quickly afterwards, and I was just into it the entire time.
Yeah, plus the emotional content is pretty backloaded, and actually I watched the first one, and it's kind of the same way. Like, it's feel good. And then as you get towards the end, they kind of start hitting you with all of the feels.
Heavy.
Yeah. So it was the same. I mean, and yeah, I would like 9. I wouldn't argue with 9. I'd go to 9 happily.
Yeah. So what prompted you to see it the second time? Because, I mean, that's like within 2 days of each other.
Oh, because I have no life.
I was basically just setting you up to say that.
No, that's right.
Take that, ego.
Yeah, it's either that or video games on a Sunday morning.
Oh, that's great. Okay, what I kind of liked about this one, and again, not going to get too specific, but I liked that it was a little bit more collaborative with the cast, because it felt like in the first one, it was very much like a Star-Lord movie. And to be fair, the driving plot engine behind this is Star-Lord centric. But I don't know that he necessarily even had more camera time than like Drax, it felt like. Because it just seemed like the movie really was more balanced.
Yeah, I don't know. I got the impression it felt like, and I agree with the first one was definitely Star-Lord. This one maybe less so because it gave the other characters a bigger chance to shine.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of great like Drax moments.
Oh my god,
and there
yes.
was like good Gamora moments and all that. So they got bigger moments. I just don't know if the story was more centered around them any more than it was last time.
No, I mean strictly in terms of camera time.
Oh, okay.
Like I honestly think that Drax had he outshined everybody else simply by almost every great comedic moment was written in for him. And goddamn, he delivers. Like, he really had that laugh that he has instantly makes me smile.
Yeah, I forget that the guy is like WWE, and sometimes we like discard that. I mean, but that's what those guys do is they're actors.
Yeah.
They might be on the ridiculous side when they're doing the wrestling, but you know, The Rock turned into a decent actor. He's done stuff where he was legitimately good. So
absolutely.
Shouldn't be that surprised, I guess.
I will say The Rock does choose a lot of shitty projects.
Yes.
But I love him in everything that he's in.
Yeah, I mean, like, what was it? Was it Get Shorty?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
right? Yeah, because he's in the second one.
Right. I forget what the second one.
Which is not Get Shorty.
It's not
Be
good.
Cool.
Be Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was great in that.
He's really good at it. He's like the gay bouncer. Not bouncer, but muscle man.
Right, with Vince Vaughn's Twinkle Twinkle, baby.
Yeah.
So it's like, so he was like really, like to me, legitimately good in that movie. And, and so that's kind of how I feel about where like Dave Bautista is.
Yeah. He hits all his marks. I read a thing that in the first movie, it took him like 3 hours a day in makeup, and they got so used to it and everything and got the process down that it was down to 90 minutes for this one. But the other dude, I cannot remember his name. He's the one who stages the coup against Yandu.
Taserface?
Taserface, yes. His took 3 hours every day.
Oh, I imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it's
intense.
pretty, exactly. But I can't say enough about how fucking hilarious Drax was in this.
Yeah, he had the best lines in the movie.
Because I felt like
Rocket had some good lines too.
I was gonna say in the first one, I felt like Rocket was made to be like the slapstick, comedy relief guy. Everybody's funny in it, but I felt like he was the one who really shined. Whereas I felt like that was definitely Drax's spotlight this time.
Yeah.
And goddamn, it's so good. Of course, Yandu had some good moments too. Like the Mary Poppins line, probably the hardest I laughed in the entire movie.
I noticed today, so when I go back and see a movie the second time, I'm less involved in the movie, so I can pick up other stuff, which is why I'll see movies multiple times that I really like. But also, I get a better feel for what the audience is buying into, and the Mary Poppins thing gets a huge pop out of the audience.
Yeah, I bet. It's just so good. And I mean, there were a lot of other parts. I ended up writing them down, but I don't want to get into it during this part of it. But actually, why don't we go ahead and start getting into specifics? So, if you have not watched the movie yet, this would be the point to pause the episode and come back to it. I'm going to write it down, actually, 8 minutes and 50 seconds in, if you don't mind writing that down for me, because I'll put it in the show notes. Okay, let's start talking a little bit about some of the specifics. So, young Kurt Russell, in the beginning, what'd you think?
Yeah, so what they're doing now with special effects in those faces is mind-blowing.
It is so incredible.
I see it, and I'm trying to figure out, I know it's special effects.
Yeah, but
I'm
how?
trying to figure out, is this his kid? Because sometimes the kids can look exactly like the parents, but it just looked perfect.
It doesn't look fake.
No,
it honestly it just looks like him when he's younger with a lot of makeup on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, a lot of blush or whatever.
Right, and I sometimes wonder is this a clip from another movie that they've cleaned up, maybe and they've just been able to add the girl in the passenger seat. But that's ridiculous.
Well, what they end up doing is they make them up on set as much as possible, and then they go in afterwards and digitally enhance it. That's what I read online.
Well, this was a guy. So when you read the cast, when you read the cast on IMDb, there's somebody whose job it was to be in that car and he was the person who they put the face on.
Interesting.
So he must have had on like one of those
gotcha.
green masks. That's how I am interpreting the cast notes. So somebody was cast to play the role of young Kurt Russell. He looks nothing like him. So he must have been just green mask, and then they put it on there.
That is fucking incredible. Did you know that the guy who plays Yandu's, like his number one follower guy,
The brother of the director.
the brother of the director, and did
Yes.
you know that he's in
He was a longtime cast character in
Gilmore Girls? I looked that up. Yeah, he's also it's Geddy Lee, right? That from Rush.
Yeah.
That's the lead singer. He's in a baseball fantasy league with
Is
him.
he?
Yeah, and
Random shit.
so random. And their father and mother are actually in the first movie, and I think at least his father is one of the people dancing after.
They're in this movie.
Okay,
so like when the blue stuff explodes on the planet, they're the old couple holding the camera, taking pictures of it.
Oh yeah,
like the notes, like the cast notes.
Mistress.
Yeah, it's like old creepy dude and then old creepy dude mistress or something. Is what he calls his
their
parents. That was awesome.
Really good. That is so funny. Yeah, I really like that. I also just love the use of Cat Stevens, Father and Son. Like, that's like an all-time great song for me. I really like it.
I love Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
Like, I took a bus ride one time from Key West to Orlando, and it was like a 20-hour bus ride.
Jesus.
And like all I listened to like the whole way was Cat Stevens because it's like good road music.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, so whatever his name is now, but it was Cat Stevens.
Yusef Islam? Does that sound right?
It's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, there's so many good Cat Stevens songs.
Yeah, I mean, that song and the way that they used it in the film, like, that got me. Like, because that is, like, one of those ultimate all-time nostalgia for, like, a youth gone by or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, given the subject, the material at the time, too,
Yes.
it's like you're just driving it home now. And so when you come out of it on the other side, it's like we talked about the Mary Poppins moment. One of the other moments that gets a huge pop from the audience is the line about Mantis being beautiful on the inside.
Yeah.
And I think like at that point in time, the whole crowd is waiting to stop, like, just to like they don't want to feel sad anymore.
Yeah.
So when that line hits, like, whoo, it's okay to laugh again. Yeah.
God, there were a lot of good parts. I wrote down just off the top of my head what I remembered of my favorite parts. So obviously the Mary Poppins. I literally wrote down the beautiful on the inside. Groot bringing the toe back on the Ravager ship. So good. Because baby Groot is so cute and so funny the way it's animated. So him bringing back the toe, and they're like, do you guys have like a freezer with just
tell me you got a freezer. And Yandu's just shaking his head.
When Peter Quill uses the Pac-Man form in his final battle with Ego, so fucking good. So
especially
good.
since he had mentioned it before, like when he's talking to Ego, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna build some weird shit."
Yeah,
He's like super excited. It's like a Pac-Man, He-Man, statue, Skeletor, whatever it was.
It was really good. And then the conversation between Bautista and Ego with Peter Quill sitting there, that's all about, so do you have a penis? Like, or how does that work?
It's like, I do have a penis, Drax, and it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. That was the best part. Kurt Russell delivers. Oh, he's just really good. He just delivers really well. Because I'm going to say my one dislike about the film, and I'm sure that this is an unpopular opinion, did not and do not really like Sylvester Stallone in anything other than the Rocky films. And even that, I feel like that's just the right thing for him. I don't like him in anything else. Like, I don't like Cliffhanger. I don't like any of that shit.
No, listen, he's put out a lot of shit. Like,
I hate Expendables. I saw like 30 minutes of one of them. I was going to say,
the one thing I watch, because it is so tongue-in-cheek, is Expendables.
Yeah,
and
it's not for me.
I can't watch them all, and I don't want to see them very often. But like when I went to go see the second one, I hadn't seen the first one, and I'm like, this is fun. Like, I had a good time watching that movie, but like I'll never watch it again. Yeah. Maybe like the last 20 minutes or something of it, but...
What do you think about him in this?
I have no problem with him in this. Like,
okay, because I read online like a lot of stuff to see what people thought. Everybody liked him in it.
Yeah.
And I felt very alone in my feelings from that.
I mean, he just was an extra almost in this. I mean, he had lines and stuff like that, but it was more cameo than anything.
Yeah. See, if he had just been in the fleet at the end for the burial thing, I think I would have laughed and really liked that. But his face-off with Yandu, who I really like as a character and want to love every scene he's in, I found myself, like, almost cringing a little bit. And it's not, like, something where I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna hate on him when I get on the podcast later, so I gotta hate that. Like, I just literally sitting there, I can't help that I was feeling that way. That's just the feeling it brought out in me.
Yeah, it's more trepidation for me than anything, because it looks like there's going to be something with him and that character, which is that's Starhawk. Like, so I had to look it up, right?
Yeah.
So it's Starhawk, and that's his name in the movie is Stakar Ogord. So right, it's hard to read it.
Yeah.
But it looks like him and those extras that you see that we'll talk about later, I'm sure. They're going to be getting a movie. I'm willing to bet.
Wow. Okay. So, and I'm just going to tease it out a little bit because we are going to play a little trivia game called Two Truths and One Big Little Lie. You chose his character as your person, right?
I did.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And I chose Adam Warlock.
I have terrible facts, though.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Mine are, I had to really deep dive into the Marvel wiki for it, so I feel like it's going to be very challenging for you to get it. It's like it's just going to be a crapshoot of one of three.
I was looking, when I got home and I started looking stuff up, I'm like, probably we really need Mathis.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's
By the way, Mothman worked in a comic book store for like 8 years. For anybody listening, he has been reading.
Sorry.
Huh?
I used the wrong name.
Oh my god, doxing him on.
I always do that.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been like a mega comic book fan since he was like 6 years old.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie, especially with characters. And so
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck.
Seth Green shout out.
Yeah, Aisha.
Yeah.
You know, the Cosmo the Wonder Dog, and then in the credits we saw Jeff Goldblum's character that's going to be in the Thor Ragnarok movie coming
Exactly,
up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff in there that I'm like, man, I wish I had spent more time reading comic books because there's no way I'm going to be able to digest all this.
Yeah.
So
there is a lot going on there that you and I will just not be able to pick up on until we
piss
leave.
some people off.
Yeah. Well, for example, the Stan Lee part with the Watchers, I just thought, oh, that's funny. It's Stan Lee.
Yeah.
But apparently there is like this big thing that, and it's really obvious when you hear it afterwards, but for the real mega fans, that essentially Stan Lee is regarded as a lot of people as like in the actual Marvel universe, he is some sort of omnipotent or maybe even like a deity type thing, and it made sense then that him basically just being on this pit stop in the middle of nowhere galaxy talking to the Watchers, which is what those people are called, and people are saying that was like an actual nod to the fan theory.
Yeah, and you know he's not talking about Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. Like, I guess what he's talking about, like, he's talking about other scenes from movies where he's appeared.
Yes, absolutely.
So he's referencing the actual scene he was in, and then, and I read somewhere, and they said it was in the credits, but I didn't see it, and I looked on IMDb and couldn't find it, but that they called him the agent of the Watchers. So, like, maybe he's not a Watcher, but he's acting as their agent and looking in on all these major events, which is actually a really cool idea.
It's a really good idea. It's like the ultimate break the fourth wall and make it as self-referential as possible. And then it's just like, it actually gives new meaning on a very small level, but new meaning to every scene that he's ever been in. Which is really cool to be able to supercharge, like, retroactively supercharge cameos.
Yeah, it's complex too because, like, I didn't know. Every time I see a Marvel movie, I'm like, oh, that's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And like when Mothman and I did Logan, he kind of broke down my sense of that I knew anything was going on about that. He's like, no, that's not actually how it works, because there's like the Fox movies and all that. But he's in all of them. So I mean, that'll be interesting because now it actually does tie all those other parts that he's been in, because he's been in every Marvel movie, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that, and the day that he recorded this, he recorded for 3 other movies or 4 other movies, including the one that ended up being in Doctor Strange, which, by the way, James Gunn directed that cameo. Yeah. So just This is fucking awesome.
I know.
It's really cool. Speaking of the thing that you were talking about with the different, like how different companies essentially own the different parts. I was reading something, and I thought that I'd written it down, but I'm not seeing it, about essentially how Fox owned the rights to one of the characters on here, but then they made a deal with Disney where they could basically utilize that character, and in exchange, Fox got to what's the Warhead girl on Deadpool? Like it's like Teenage Warhead or something like that. They could use more of her powers that were detailed, but there was some murkiness to where
Teenage
before
Megasonic.
Yeah,
Warhead?
that sounds right.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so. So they literally, like, they made a deal, basically.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it is really weird the way that those lines are drawn of which production companies essentially own the rights to different Marvel things, which kind of segments up the universe.
Yeah.
Which, it makes it weird.
Yeah, so to think that he's the only thing that's crossing those lines, really.
Yeah.
So, and I'm curious, like, if to go back to see, like the Fantastic Four movies and those early predecessors, if he was in those, because I don't remember him as clearly anymore.
Yeah, because it's been 20 years since.
Yeah. I mean, I know he was in the early Spider-Man movies. So
For sure.
Yeah, so I'm assuming he was in those, too.
Interesting.
Nothing ever bad happens when you assume, right?
Yeah. Does not make an ass of you and me. But I also have to say that Yandu really liked his arc in this film.
Yeah.
Like, it was... Because he's a pretty, like, periphery type character, like, just off to the side, sort of, in the first one. And he is front and center in this one. And and that's both in terms of, like, the Mary Poppins haha moments, the badass moments, like him basically just wrecking the entire crew that had worked with him before. Like, that scene is amazing. That might have been like my singular favorite action scene in the whole movie. It was so good. That weapon is so badass.
Yeah, it looked fantastic too. Like, not just what was going on, because that was super cool that he's actually just kind of annihilating those people with a whistle.
Yeah,
which is something we saw some of in the first one, where he walks out into the field after crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it just...
But this one, like, when the lights went out and it's going around...
Oh, that was the best. So, like, the singular part, if I had to boil it down, that was the moment right there.
Yeah, because it's super trippy. You're like, oh, man, this would be a good time to be doing something.
Yeah.
And then it, him and Rocket are in that room, and the camera pans up, and now it's looking down at the thing, and you just see this pattern that the arrow is creating.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Oh, that is really... Yeah, it was just awesome. But then also... getting the feels a little bit about, like, and I'm gonna butcher it, but something about the lines of, like, he might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy, sort of thing. Like, it just, I don't know, it just all rang very true. Like, he's just a good actor, and he did it all very well.
Yeah, I like Michael Rooker, especially in, like, supporting roles, and where he doesn't have to be, like, a good guy or something like that. He's good being kind of a scumbag.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He embraces that. But then also he does translate well into human moments. Because even in Walking Dead, when he's Merle, he does have moments, I guess, where you kind of empathize with him for just a moment about, like, a singular subject or something that he's saying, or his relationship with Daryl, about how even though it's toxic and totally fucked, that he does love him. And he plays a great character well.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I knew him from was Mallrats.
Yeah. Yes.
He's, like, super creepy in Mallrats, but I loved him when he was on the screen. Like, he had some of the best moments.
Agreed.
Like the chocolate pretzel.
I have to say, I love any part where people are mistaking the type of animal that Rocket is. Like, Trash Panda was the one that really stuck out.
Awesome, yeah.
Trash Panda, and everybody laughs in the theater when that happens, and then, like, he doesn't know if Trash Panda's good or not. I love when characters in it are not getting the references themselves. Like, obviously it happens with Drax quite a bit. The Mary Poppins part is the same way.
The ego moment with him was really good, because at least with Peter's purposefully trying to be disrespectful towards her from calling him a trash panda.
Yeah.
But when Ego's like, and the little triangle faced monkey can come too, he starts to be on his face. And like, I heard it when we saw it, but when I saw it this morning, it's like everybody, I was like, "Aww," because he's feeling his triangle face. It's like, that's great. It's so casually mean.
It is really good, and it's perfect too because he is a dick himself, the character. So the more that they rip on him, it's not like a Meg situation from Family Guy, you know? Yeah. It's like a character who gives it and takes it, obviously, too. I wanted to talk real quick about I don't know the name of the race, I'm just going to call them the Golden Race. You know those people? Yeah. Okay, I really like how their whole fleet, their armada, is basically like Galaga or something. Like they're all playing like it's a video game.
The sound effects.
Yeah.
Like even the sound effects for video game. Yeah. And like when they would get shot down, you're like, yeah. And it's like, I was like, oh, they're playing like it's pure 80s.
Exactly. That really I thought was so funny.
God, that's gonna bother me now what they're named. I think she referred to them as the name of wherever they're from.
So it's not the Golden People?
No.
Okay.
No, like they're from a planet, whatever the planet is.
Well, I will say when I read online, because I copied and pasted this part out, is literally Golden Race is what everybody was referring to them as.
Oh, okay.
So they might have a more specific thing, but I think Golden Race is like perfectly acceptable to call them.
Oh, okay.
You know? Yeah.
It's PC.
Yeah, it's PC, exactly. Calling people by their skin color. Yeah, that always goes well. What did you not like about the movie? Is there anything that jumps out at you? I already named one of mine. It was the Sylvester Stallone thing. I also find Nebula sometimes to be a little grating.
That's probably where I would go. Like Nebula is not my favorite. I like the actress who plays her too.
I do too.
But there's not much going on there actually.
There's really not. And there were some really great scenes, like when she is so hell-bent on killing Gamora when she's in the spaceship that she literally rams the spaceship through that cave, like even though the spaceship doesn't fit and it's battering around and stuff. So a lot of good moments, and I think she plays the character as it's intended to be played. But whereas all the other characters, all of like their maybe shitty idiosyncrasies are covered up by great humor, they don't really try to use her as a conduit for humor, I don't think, hardly at all.
No, I think she makes like little wry remarks, but they never seem to connect. And I don't know. I mean, maybe she's a robot, so maybe it's supposed to be that way. And maybe she'll play a bigger role in the Infinity Wars movies.
They certainly made her into a bigger role in this one than she was in the first one. At least I thought, in terms of trying to add some emotional investment from the audience in her, because it goes into her childhood and the trauma that Thanos placed upon both her and Gamora, and the way that Gamora also, I guess, suffered underneath that, but then didn't reach out and help or anything.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff, like, I don't know, there's something about the size of the Ravagers that didn't sit well with me. I can't put it any more succinctly than that. There was something about how many of them there were, and I'm like, there's something that, like, it seemed smaller in the first movie, and like now it's like a little mini army he's running. But I don't know. There's just something weird about that to me. But I wouldn't say I didn't like it. It just
gotcha. Okay, so you're saying just in general, like that it seemed like
and it might be
there was like 20 people maybe in the first. But again, maybe you're only seeing like the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, there's a bit like more. I would say if anything, it's like more like a continuity thing with the first movie that just was like I don't remember it actually being that way. And even after watching the first movie recently, I'm like, I still feel the same way about it. Yeah. So I don't know.
His death, actually, that to me was a very good scene. Like,
that was cool.
The right way to have done it. That was the only part in the movie, other than maybe a little bit of like actual rage when Kurt Russell's ego admits that he gave Peter Quill's mom cancer. But Yandu's death was probably the only other part where I really like had a case of the feels. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, and the celestial part of it is a little like so I don't know if we'll get into it, but we were talking about it even in the movie, like who actually is Peter's dad. And so there's two things. One, it's not the same guy as in the comic books. So Ego is not his dad in the comic books. And I'm talking very confidently about something I know nothing about right now.
Yeah.
But I can't find anything where it's not this Jason of the Spartoi. But, you know, he also refers to himself as the last Celestial. And then we saw another Celestial in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on.
Who is the Celestial in that one?
When he's describing to the collectors, telling them about all the Infinity Stones, and they're seeing, you know, they're looking into this thing, and he's showing the effect they've had. They talk about a Celestial having the Purple Stone that what's his name had in that movie?
Thanos?
No, not Thanos. The guy who was working for Thanos in the first Guardians of the Galaxy. The main...
Oh, Ronan. Yeah. Yes. Oh, okay. I got
Yeah, so I'm just a little confused as to what's going on there. So, but like I said, it's all mostly continuity stuff, I think.
Yeah.
And I could be completely off base.
Yeah. No, that sounds right. Let's throw over to Two Truths and One Big Little Lie. And then you're ready to do it?
I've never done it before, so...
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, well, this will be interesting. Let's go ahead and throw over to it.
Let's play a game called...
Two truths and one big
Little Lie.
Okay, so essentially Two Truths and One Big Little Lie is just 3 statements about a character or an actor, character in this case, and 2 of which are true, 1 of which is false. That's simply it. Since you have never done this before, I'm going to let you go ahead and lead off.
Okay, so my character I chose here was Starhawk, the Sylvester Stallone character. Not going to try and pronounce his first name. Although, no, I am. Because his first name's Stakar, and every time I read it... Stakar!
Which, by the way, that's a throwback to... we had a bunch of bots download, I guess, episodes of ours way back when, and I was so confused because I looked one day and I'm like, God damn, we are like off the charts in Senegal right now. I mean, it was like a huge boost. And I was looking, and it actually shows like the city that it's from, and it was from Dakar. And the reason why I say it like that is because I wanted to know how to pronounce it for when I came on the podcast to talk about it, and that is literally exactly how the like text to speech thing worked. So I played it on air. So I had to.
Okay, so to Starhawk, truth 1.
Nice.
He and his adoptive sister once shared the same body and have 3 children together.
Weird. Okay.
Truth 2. He received his powers from the Star God.
Star God.
Truth 3. He studied archaeology.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, those are so concise. Okay, what was the first one again?
He and his adoptive sister once shared the same body and have 3 children together.
God damn it. Okay, that one sounds so much different than the other ones, but it also would be just a weird thing for you to have come up with, which I'm not putting past you. I'm going to say that he did not study archaeology.
Wrong.
Oh, no.
He received his powers not from the Star God, from the Hawk God.
That's really funny. Because when you said Star God, I thought, he's way too clever to literally have just written down Star God.
I did this last minute. I'm not very clever.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, all right, that was pretty good.
I really wanted to do like one of the petty ones and be like, he and his sister had 2 kids instead of 3.
No, you better not big shot me like that. Jables and I have gotten into it on air many times about the fact that that's what we do is like we'll have a list of things like studied blah 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 isn't accomplished this or that or this or that, and just one of those things isn't true. So we've made it so that we can't do it. But anyway, you got me. I did mine on Adam Warlock, who is also called him in the comics. So here goes. Truth 1. In the comics, the Golden Race creates him as the ultimate weapon in the battle with the Kree. Truth 2. Adam Warlock defeats Thanos multiple times and at one point obtains the Infinity Gauntlet and becomes a near supreme being of the universe. Truth 3. He possesses the Soul Gem, which has a consciousness of its own and an insatiable appetite for the life energies of organic beings.
Okay. So I'm between 2 and 3.
Okay.
I don't remember the Soul Gem, if that's the one that's in what's his name. the character from the Avengers. That from Ultron. You know what I'm talking about.
I'm not saying a goddamn thing.
No.
You're not going to weasel some sort of information out of me right now. This is a competition, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm going to go with B.
That is incorrect.
Damn it.
It was literally the only one that you weren't looking at.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. In the comics, the false thing they said is in the comics, the Golden Race creates him as the ultimate weapon in the battle with the Kree. That is not true. He was actually just created on Earth. They wanted to create an artificial perfect human, and he just kind of went off and did his own thing instead of being a part of their calamity.
So they took a departure in the movies.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's in a cocoon in Guardians 1 in the Collector's thing.
That's what I thought, yeah. But she made it sound like
they had just created him.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Yeah. I go back to my continuity thing.
Yeah, that is confusing. Okay, nice job. Popped your cherry pretty good right there. That is a weird thing for brother-in-laws to say. I regret it instantly. Like, just not good.
My chocolate-covered cherry.
Yeah. Oh, god damn it. Okay, speaking of food, we're going to kick over to a Blue Apron ad. This sweet segue. So we'll be right back.
And one big
little lie. Hello, Robo Foxman here to tell you about Boob Tube Buddies' new sponsor, Blue Apron. When I cook for Robo, Bethany, and my beautiful children, it is a time that brings us all together. Blue Apron makes it simple and affordable for you to provide that wonderful time for your system error. This week, I tried the recipe for, they have a wine section? 6 premium wines delivered monthly? Let's give this a whirl.
Ooh, that hits the spot.
If you're interested in
Trying Blue Apron anyway.
go to blueapron.com/BTB to get $30 off
Your first order. It's a fantastic way to contribute to my drinking.
problem, and it's amazing food for you and the family.
Again, that's
www.blueapron.com/BTB.
BTB.
Enjoy, little buddies.
And we're back from that Blue Apron ad. Get out there and support our sponsors. What is it, BTB?
Yeah, exactly. Go to blueapron.com/BTB. Get those chocolate cherries.
You gotta make them yourself.
Oh,
They just supply the ingredients.
Oh, nice. Nicely done. All right, so I wanted to use this part to kind of go into some Easter eggs, maybe some last minute things that we hadn't thought of. But I looked up a bunch of stuff online that I thought were interesting. I thought we could discuss. First off, have you looked at all into the ratings for on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, or Metacritic?
No, not yet.
Okay. Just guess. IMDb, it's the 1 to 10 scale. 75,000 reviews already. What do you think?
It's the 1 to 5 scale?
It's the 1 to 10 scale. And to give you a little bit of extra, the first movie was an 8.1 on 750,000 reviews.
I'm going to say right now it's probably like a 9.1.
It's an 8.2.
Oh.
It kind of surprised me a little bit. I thought it would be a little bit higher. Which, I mean, 75,000 reviews, it's going to end up probably having 10 times that many eventually, so that number could shift. But generally speaking, that's enough people to have a pretty good indicator for what people will think about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's that low. Because the usually I think opening weekend, those numbers are typically pretty, I think they go down.
Oh, do they?
That's how I always seem to see, like when I mean, maybe I'm thinking of Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, it actually would make sense because generally speaking, the people who would go see things on opening weekend are like really excited and anticipatory. Whereas somebody who goes and sees it a month later is probably a more even mix of casual moviegoers. But okay, if that surprised you, then what do you think it got on Metacritic? The first one had a 76, by the way.
68?
67.
Oh.
That's pretty goddamn low.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know how they do their ratings though.
I don't totally understand how Metacritic compiles, but I think that it's people that actually like
Well, I know like on Rotten Tomatoes, like there's the critics,
Yes.
but it's like,
and then there's the audience.
and then there's the audience. But I mean, at least I know on Rotten Tomatoes that the critics aren't like, there's mainstream critics on there, there's big names, but by and large, it's a bunch of people writing for like blogs and stuff.
Blogs and maybe even like tiny local newspapers and
Yeah,
editorials.
you don't even have to, like, I know that you can get into that, you can get in on Rotten Tomatoes if you're just constantly bombarding them with reviews.
Yeah.
Because I actually knew somebody in a film class I took who did that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he would see like every movie that came out, he'd write reviews on it, and then like eventually either he reached out to them or they reached out to him, and they started putting his things up in there for a while. I don't know if he still does it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, first one had a it was a 91% certified fresh, 92% from the audience. What do you think that this one was?
Well, now I know I'm off. I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna lowball everything. 84
81% certified fresh, and
from the audience.
nope, that's just like I think that's the blend.
Okay.
Maybe. What do you think that the audience was? It's higher. I'll give you that.
88.
It's 90.
Okay.
So
Good.
I just, that was all lower than what I thought. I have no idea whether or not that's interesting for you, the audience, to hear, but I'm always curious to see how things are received.
Well, I said the other day when we saw the movie yesterday, when we saw the movie that you know, I almost said something to you about the critics. Oh, it was when I was doing the podcast the other day, and I was like, I almost told you what I had read from the critics. You're like, no, don't do it. And like the critics were trending pretty low on the movie, like, and I was surprised by that. They're like, oh, it's good, but it's not the first movie, and I don't know. I'd call them even at best.
I honestly might have been slightly more entertained with this one. I mean, the concept of the movie, I guess, hits you a little bit more fresh on the first one because you just hadn't seen something quite like that yet.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe the first one gets an extra nod that the second one, no sequel can ever get back. You know, that feeling from the first one.
Yeah, I mean, this one I think is more entertaining. Maybe they're looking at it and saying, oh, it's not as
It's absolutely funnier.
Yeah, maybe they're looking at it and saying, oh, it's not as good a movie. Like the story structure and the character arcs, you know, all that stuff that critics get into. But
maybe it was Sylvester Stallone. They saw him in there and they thought, get this fucking hack out of here.
yeah.
Yeah, it was. You knew I was gonna cough the whole time. My face, I could just feel it turning purple doing my Sylvester Stallone voice. I wanted to ask you. I had seen something on Reddit complaining. This is a trend, so not just with this movie, but we went and saw it at it was a 9:30, right? Mm-hmm. Did you happen to check and see what time like the actual movie got started?
Oh, you mean like
after all the trailers and all the announcements from the theater and the turn off your what's it called and all this different stuff?
No, but like I've noticed that I'm getting out of movies later and later than I normally would.
People were saying online that this one was up past 30 minutes, like 35, 40 minutes. That's fucking crazy.
It seems like a lot, yeah. I mean,
but to be fair, the runtime for the movie is, and I wrote it down somewhere here, but it was...
I think it's 220.
It was actually 136 minutes, so that's 2 hours and 16 minutes, yeah. And we went in at 9:30, so that should have been 11:45, but when I've gotten to my car, it was 12:15 or 12, something like that. So yeah, it's about right, 25-30 minutes.
I mean, I've gone to movies where I thought the trailers were taking forever.
Yeah.
And with
I liked all these trailers. So let me just say, first off, I just really enjoy that part of the movie.
I do like trailers.
Yeah. And these were really good ones.
I mean, without Transformers.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very fair. But overall, I'm saying they were really fun
they
trailers.
were good.
Like all high budget stuff.
And I believe like maybe it takes longer in IMAX because you actually get a set of trailers than you get an IMAX trailer. And maybe it's short. I don't know if it's shorter in other movies. I don't know. But you have that extra little span of time, but 45 minutes seems like that's too much.
It's really excessive.
I feel like it's probably closer to a half hour.
I am getting to my threshold of where it's as long as it can be without me starting to like audibly sigh out loud. But again, I liked all the ones for this, but there are some where I'm like, Jesus Christ, what sort of movie am I in for if these are the trailers they're showing?
You go see indie movies, and you get these weird trailers because they're like they target certain audiences. They get really bad sometimes.
You go see the live event things sometimes. Did they have trailers before those?
No, I mean, they might pimp out like stuff they're planning on doing, but like if you're talking about like the Met Opera stuff.
Yeah.
No, they do interviews and stuff before the show, and they talk about like the performers and stuff. So they're not doing. It's all based on the production.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool.
And then when there's breaks like between parts, like, you know, a 3-part opera. So in the 2 breaks, they're actually behind the scenes showing you how they're changing sets.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool behind the scenes look at stuff. But
that's okay. I get that.
But they do talk about a little bit. They talk about what's coming. So.
What do you think about the after part? How, and especially in Marvel, there's always extra things at the end.
You're talking about the trailers, the post credit trailers.
Yes,
I hate them.
Okay, 5 is too much. That's too much.
Yeah, I don't want to sit through them, and now more movies are doing them.
Yeah,
and they're trying to keep you there, and it's like, just let me go. I don't need to see who the casting director or the lead grip is.
And no offense to those people, because they did a goddamn great job, but nobody wants to sit there and read their fucking names. And honestly, there's so many people involved with the movies that nobody's picking out an individual name, unless your name's like, then what's the person who's on Family Guy whose name is like Mama Cherich Chowie?
Oh, yeah. Sherry Shermatong. Yeah. Nobody can pronounce it.
Yeah, dumb wrong.
When she says it, when you hear her say it too, it sounds so simple. Like, oh, I can say that. Sherry Shermatong.
Yeah. But I mean, unless there's one like that, like I'm not, either way, it frustrates me. And they're very rarely ever anything that I feel like I needed to have stuck around. But it's almost like, well, I'm there. I spent fucking $90 on popcorn and soda and...
Yeah, I think when I hit my limit was the Avengers one with the shawarma.
Shawarma,
and
yes.
Okay, it was funny, but I don't need funny. Like, if you're not going to give me some look into what's coming, then I really don't care.
Yeah, because at least in God damn it, I can't remember which one it was that actually teased out the Scarlet Witch, and her brother, like, in a prison cell sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, I guess I agree with you on that. And this one, to be fair, it did have Jeff Goldblum dancing.
Yeah, I mean, and the credits had the little I Am Groot thing that popped up.
Yeah, so it was animated. There was stuff going on.
But the Easter eggs that they gave you in the trailer, there's some characters that they reveal. And that's what we were talking about earlier with the Sylvester Stallone Starhawk, why I'm pretty sure they're going to get a movie. Because, I mean, it was at the end of the movie, too, so you really didn't need it in the credits.
Yeah.
But they did give you that bonus credit scene to make you see that, oh, it looks like they're going to do another team.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people in it too, and then I read online all those are actual characters. Like every single one of those are and granted, they're not any that I had ever heard of before.
No, so who it is? It's Stakar Ogard. His sister Aletta Ogard, who's Michelle Yeoh, the Asian actress who was in like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, who I love.
Yeah, me too.
Who, by the way, we talk about whitewashing here and there. That character and everything I looked up is like a blonde-haired Caucasian.
Oh, really?
You know, they got an Asian playing it, which I'm like, all right, thumbs up.
Nice.
Then there's Martinex, who was in the movie. He's the shiny guy.
Yep.
Who was played by Michael Rosenbaum from a popular CW show.
Oh,
he was Lex Luthor on Smallville.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Charlie 27, which is Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking big actors. Then there's this Krugar who did the Doctor Strange magic thing with the 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where he gets his powers from. Like, he's, like, learned from...
Oh, yeah. He's his protege.
Well, yeah, but he was actually, like, learned from the Ancient One. So I guess in the comic books it's a little different. But, yeah, so they're tied together. And then there's Mainframe, which was the little head that Tony Stark develops and is voiced by Miley Cyrus.
Oh, wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tony Stark, I had read something that I thought was pretty interesting. So, Taserface is a warrior from the cybernetically enhanced race known as the Stark.
Yeah.
And the Stark are a race that found Iron Man technology that accidentally crashed on their homeworld, and as a result, they worship Tony Stark as their god.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't think that that's the case with his character necessarily, and because there was no nods to it at all in the movie.
Yeah, and I think they're in the same timeline.
What do you? Oh yeah. That's exactly.
Oh no, just slipped my mind.
Oh, okay.
Shit happens when you get older.
I really, really liked all the mocking of Taserface's name too.
God damn it. Yeah, I like that Taserface is not a movie creation. Like, that's a comic book name.
Oh yeah.
And I looked it up. I was like, oh, it's real.
Yeah.
But yeah, the name mocking was great, especially the golden lady at the end.
Yeah. She just snorts. Yeah, she snorts. She chortles at him. Oh, that was great. That was really good.
Like, the Golden Race are a bunch of dicks. Like,
they are.
When they're just sitting there, and I know it's like something that if you grew up around arcades that happened, like if you were having a great game and you were there with friends, they would gather around you and watch you play the game.
Yeah.
That they had already been knocked out of.
Yeah.
And then they'd make fun of you when you lost.
Yeah.
And so, but they're kind of dicks.
You suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny. By the way, I do see in my notes, it was actually Ego that Fox had to relinquish to Disney. Like, so the main bad guy, they had to give up literally just for like a small part of what they wanted to continue doing with the Deadpool series.
Oh.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like a really big tit for a tiny little tad.
Yeah.
You know?
I wonder what he was in for Disney.
What do you mean?
I mean, if they own him.
Oh, yeah, no, I think that he was just maybe part of some larger property or something. Like that, I feel like that's how it goes. Like that they're buying certain properties and that they have to be grouped. Because I really don't think that they're buying singular characters.
No. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. We really need Mothman on before. Let's not talk anymore about it. It's going to become embarrassing. This movie was 15 minutes longer than the first one. It didn't feel 15. It literally, to me, they felt very comparable.
Yeah, it went by really well, pacing.
Yeah.
I guess it was great. I mean, between him and Joss Whedon seemed to handle that the best.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I agree. Yeah. And honestly, both of them are a big part of what makes Marvel so vastly superior to DC when it comes to movie properties. Is the fact that they handle their pacing so well. Yeah. And that is, if I had to pick one singular thing that DC sucks a big bag of dicks on, it is absolutely their pacing sucks so bad.
Yeah, they need to get away from Zack Snyder. Like, they tied their wagons to the wrong horse.
Yeah, it's a shame too, because Zack Snyder, I feel like if he was like an assistant director or some sort of because I actually really love the visual of what he can do, but I also feel like maybe he needs to be reined in a little bit because he gets a little hokey with the style of it and way too hell-bent on the style, and the substance is just never there. It's a fucking hollow shell.
Yeah.
But okay, let's not... Actually, speaking of the visual part of it, according to VF experts, Ego's planet is comprised of 1 trillion polygons and is considered to be by far the biggest visual effect, the singular visual effect ever made.
It was very cool.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
That planet looked so awesome. It looked like... what the fuck? It looked like No Man's Sky, what No Man's Sky was supposed to be. Do you know what No Man's Sky is?
No, I don't.
Oh my god, it's that dog shit game that came out last year, and it was hugely hyped.
Okay.
And it's like an open space exploration thing, but what people came to realize is that the problem with having this infinitely re-rendering software that is basically creating planets on the fly as you're going is that it's creating a whole lot of nothing. And then, so like it would mix and match parts from different like alien planet species and things like that, to where you'd have something with like a T-Rex head on a tiny little kangaroo body with like an elephant's like snout coming out of its ass, like just super random things like that. And there's the best fucking, I'm gonna send this to you, it is so goddamn good, where somebody on YouTube had this reveal of this T-Rex looking thing that I'm talking about, but it had the bum 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 bum,
the Jurassic Park.
But then I think it like kind of pulls back the camera to show you this hideously deformed thing, and it becomes instead like a really like shittily recorded version of that song instead. Oh my god, it's so funny. I'm gonna send it to you. It's so good. But I'm not sure if I really had any other things. I know that John C. Reilly was like, they had hoped to get him back on, but he had scheduling conflicts and couldn't get in. I also saw that Matthew McConaughey was very seriously considered for Ego, but turned it down in terms of because he wanted to do The Dark Tower instead.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good because I don't think he like thinking of him in that role. I don't think he fits as well as Kurt Russell.
Oh, Kurt Russell was perfect.
Yeah.
No, he was so perfect for it. I honestly would not have wanted anybody else in that role.
Yeah.
I thought he was so good in that. But I think that by the way, it's Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Negasonic. Oh, okay.
Why is it Nega?
I don't know.
I don't know about that. I feel like I'm really close to saying a word I shouldn't say when I say nega, so I'm just gonna move past it.
Maybe it's just street.
Yeah. Speaking of me or another Boob Tube Buddy being trashy, I'm gonna go ahead and throw over to a little Jib Jab with Jables segment, a little special treat that he cooked up. He was supposed to be on the podcast, but he ended up having some work scheduling conflicts. But he did go ahead and record something for us, so we're gonna kick over to it, and we'll be right back with you guys.
Guardians of the Galaxy may not be the typical heroes on your TV. Guardians of the Galaxy are much more than just your average Joe like you and me. Guardians of the Galaxy here to save the world and more from any enemy. Guardians of the Galaxy mixing up crazy action scenes with comedy. My name is Groot! I am Groot! Guardians of the Galaxy may not be the typical heroes on your TV. Guardians of the Galaxy are much more than just your average Joe like you and me. Guardians of the Galaxy here to save the world and more from any enemy. Guardians of the Galaxy mixing up crazy action scenes with comedy. Now this one is for Rocket, not a regular mammal. His heart is human, but he looks like an animal. He's tough as nails, Groot is Pee Wee Herman, and shit gonna hit the fan if you call him a vermin. Drax is strong and ruthless to the core. He can handle anything except a metaphor. Gamora is hot, she squashed the beef with her sister, and even though she green as fuck, you still wanna kiss her. Everyone's favorite is Baby Groot. He's a tiny guy with a big attitude. He is just too cute for a dancing Root, even though all he can say is I am Groot. Star-Lord has to be the coolest one. He's the son of a gun and also a godson. He can take on the world with the music of his mom. Now get in the fray and try to kill someone. Guardians of the Galaxy may not be the typical heroes on your TV. Guardians of the Galaxy are much more than just your average Joe like you and me. Guardians of the Galaxy here to save the world and more from any enemy. Guardians of the Galaxy mixing up crazy action scenes with comedy. Now that Yandu and Nebula have joined the gang, it's time to greet these golden people with their guns and bang bang. It's such a shame that Star-Lord had to lose both his real father and his blue dad. I'm sure that both deaths caused him pain, but one was a loss and the other's a gain. They blasted Ego to infinity and beyond. You gotta pay respect to the late great Yandu. R.I.P. Star-Lord Daddy. Guardians of the Galaxy may not be the typical heroes on your TV. Guardians of the Galaxy are much more than just your average Joe like you and me. Guardians of the Galaxy here to save the world and more from any enemy. Guardians of the Galaxy mixing up crazy action scenes with comedy. War is what's in store. Thanos, we're coming for ya. Guardians of the Galaxy may not be the typical heroes on your TV. Guardians of the Galaxy are much more than just your average Joe like you and me. Come on! Guardians of the Galaxy here to save the world and more from any enemy. I want you! Guardians of the Galaxy mixing up crazy action scenes with comedy.
All that needed was a little bit of humming from the philosopher. It would have been perfect.
Yeah, that would have really set it in. I told him, because I asked him, give me a sneak peek, like, who are you doing? And he said, I'm doing Ba With a Ba by Kid Rock. And I said, the whole goddamn movie, it's literally called Volume 2 because it's based off of his mixtape from like 70s, 80s music. Like, why would you not do any one of those songs? And he said, that's a good point, but I already wrote out all the lyrics. So, and I get that. Like, you put time into something, you're like, fuck it. We're not getting paid for this. But anyway, thank you very much, Jables. That was really good. I know he is going to be listening.
Yeah.
So
obviously a lot of effort put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice job, buddy.
A for effort.
67 on Metacritic. So anyway, that I think is going to wrap it up for the podcast. Thank you guys very much for listening in. We do have Sense8 going. We have American Gods, Better Call Saul, and Fargo. That's it, right?
Yeah, sounds right.
Sweet. And we have our best of coming up this week, which Mothman actually interviewed. You know what? I think maybe it's supposed to be a surprise, but there is like a little celebrity interview that's going to be in on it. So it's going to be a good best of episode. Mothman asked what is a relatively simple question, but maybe the guy was not ready for it. Stumped the fucking tits off of him. It's so good. So good. But anyway, that's it again, all the social media stuff. But really, we just want to connect with you guys. So write in, let us know what you'd like us to cover coming up. We've already talked about Orange is the New Black, the new Twin Peaks. So there's some things cooking, but we'd love to hear from you guys on that. That is pretty much going to be it for me. So Philosopher, I'm hoping you know what comes next, because I'm about to throw it over you to tie a little bow on this bitch.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to do it Guardians of the Galaxy style, though. I am Groot.
Nice.